Hey everyone, great to see you again. When we think about the pinnacle of wealth, we usually picture the mega billions of Elon Musk, Jeff Bezos, or Warren Buffett. But measuring the wealth of the richest people by their bank account balance or the value of the stocks they own is something that has only been around since the first industrial revolution. For most of history, wealth was calculated in a very different way. Rulers like Augustus Caesar or Emperor Shenzong of Song had absolute control over their empires, while master bankers like Jacob Fugger and Cosimo de' Medici controlled the economy from behind the scenes. In this video, we're going to count down the richest people in history, focusing on those who lived before 1760, the start of the first industrial revolution. Before we jump into today's list, just a few quick notes for you guys. First, most ancient wealth was tied up in land or the empires ruled by monarchs. This makes some calculations, like land values at different points in history, or separating a ruler's personal wealth from the wealth of their nation, highly subjective and sometimes inaccurate. Second, documentation from ancient times is rare and often incomplete. The assets of some figures in this video might only be described through myths or oral traditions, so they may not be historically precise. And finally, converting past assets to modern values can be done in several ways, some of which are controversial, so the rankings in this video are relative. Hopefully you'll take them in good fun. Right now, let's go. Cosimo de' Medici, $129 billion. Cosimo de' Medici was an Italian banker and politician, nicknamed the Uncrowned King of Florence. The foundation of Cosimo's wealth came from his father. Giovanni di Bicci de' Medici founded the Medici Bank and backed the Pope's return to Rome in 1410. From then on, Giovanni was entrusted with the role of personal banker to the Pope, along with lucrative tax and mining contracts, which helped build the Medici dynasty's fortune. In total, the Medici family literally produced 4 popes and were major patrons of Renaissance artists like Leonardo da Vinci, Michelangelo, and Botticelli. Cosimo inherited both the wealth and the banking expertise from his father. Under Cosimo's management, the Medici Bank expanded across Western Europe, handling most of the business for kings and popes, such as trading spices, textiles, and antiques. According to Forbes, the Medici business peaked during Cosimo de' Medici's time and declined after his death in 1464. It's estimated that the Medici family's assets would be worth about $129 billion in 2025. Jacob Fugger, $400 billion. Replacing the Medici as the biggest bankers in Europe in the late 15th and early 16th centuries was the Fugger family, headed by Jacob Fugger. Born with a silver spoon into a merchant family, Jacob further climbed the social ladder through his marriage into an aristocratic family in Augsburg, Germany. Within a few decades, Jacob expanded the family company into an enterprise operating across Europe. Starting with textile trade with Italy, the Fugger Company rapidly grew through strong business ties with the Austrian state and the Roman Curia. Simultaneously, the company expanded its operations through mining activities in Western Austria, extracting silver and copper in the kingdoms of Bohemia and Hungary. After Jacob Fugger took over, the company gained a copper market monopoly in Europe. As the biggest banker in Europe at the time, Jacob was knee-deep, or more accurately, completely immersed in European politics. He poured money into kings and popes, fueled wars, and helped Austria become one of the most prominent empires in 15th and 16th century Europe. When he died on December 30th, 1525, Jacob Fugger left the assets of the Anton Fugger Company to his nephew, valued at a total of 2,032,652 hammers. He is one of the most famous Germans, nicknamed Fugger the Rich. American journalist Greg Steinmetz estimated his total fortune at around $400 billion in today's money, equivalent to about 2% of Europe's GDP at the time. Mansa Musa, $400 billion. His name is synonymous with unimaginable wealth and generosity. The man who appears on countless online news sites and YouTube TikTok videos with the title of Richest Person in History. We're talking about Mansa Musa, the 9th Sultan of the Mali Empire in the 14th century. Although he often wins the award for richest ever, no one is truly sure about the extent of Mansa Musa's wealth. His wealth is often described as unimaginably large, incalculable, or immeasurable. And we all know that nothing on this planet is that much, not even gold. Typically, the Mali ruler's wealth is estimated to be equivalent to $400 billion in modern terms. To give you an idea, that's the value of 6,451 metric tons of 24K gold. The thing is, Musa likely wasn't that rich. According to some unverified sources, during his pilgrimage to the Muslim holy site of Mecca in 1324, Musa handed out gifts, specifically gold, to the poor along the way. The amount of gold he gave away was so massive that it caused inflation and made the price of gold in Egypt drop by about 12%, a price that didn't recover for at least 12 years. To put it playfully, Mansa Musa single-handedly destroyed the Egyptian economy in the short term. However, historian Warren Schultz disagrees. He argues that the fluctuation in gold prices in Egypt at that time was normal and not necessarily caused by Musa's gold giveaway. So let's at F5M try to calculate how much gold the 9th Sultan of the Mali Empire brought on the most extravagant pilgrimage of all time. According to the most popular version of the story, Musa's entourage included 60,000 men, all wearing damask and Persian silk. Among them were 12,000 slaves, each carrying 1.8 kilograms of gold bars, totaling 24.6 tons. In addition, gold dust was loaded onto 80 camels, each carrying between 23 and 136 kilograms. Taking an average of 80 kilograms here, that totals 6.4 tons. So, Mansa Musa carried at least 28 tons of gold, equivalent to 1.45 cubic meters, or enough to cast about 20 life-size human statues, just so you can visualize it.
Oh my God!
That sounds impressive, but in reality, this amount of gold is only equivalent to $3.6 billion at 2025 prices. This means Musa would have needed another 3,075 tons of gold to match the rumored $400 billion fortune. Although Visual Capitalist and the precious metals trading company Texas Precious Metals suggest that Musa's West African kingdom was likely the world's largest gold producer at the time, and Musa seems to have been the wealthiest man of his era, it's hard to believe that the Mali ruler owned a $400 billion fortune. According to BBC.com, before the Americas were rediscovered in 1492, over a century after Musa's gold-drenched pilgrimage, the entire world had only mined 12,780 tons of gold. Can you really believe that Mansa Musa alone owned a quarter of the world's total gold supply? Andrew Carnegie, $483 billion. Going from rags to riches to become one of the wealthiest men in American history is what people say about Andrew Carnegie. Born in a poor village in Dunfermline, Scotland, he had to drop out of school at age 12 when his family fell on hard times. In 1848, at age 13, he moved with his family to Pennsylvania, USA, to pursue the American dream. Although he invested in many different fields, most of Carnegie's wealth came from his namesake steel production company, founded in 1892. His Carnegie Steel Company was the largest steel producer, not just in the United States, but in the entire world at the time. At its peak in 1900, Carnegie Steel had over 20,000 workers and produced more steel than all of Great Britain, about 30,000 tons of steel per day, 11 million tons per year, accounting for 1/5 of global production. Seeing that colossal potential, in 1901, the financial and banking conglomerate J.P. Morgan bought Carnegie's steel company for the then unprecedented price of $303.5 million, equivalent to nearly $11 billion today. With a net worth of only $11 billion, Andrew Carnegie would be nowhere near the top 100 richest people today. However, since he donated 90% of his assets in the last 18 years of his life, let's give him a special nod and a ranking boost in a different way. Going back to 1901, the US GDP was around $16.7 billion. Thus, Carnegie personally held 1.8% of the entire US wealth. If Carnegie were to still hold 1.8% of US wealth in 2025, he would instantly become the richest person in the world with $549 billion, nearly the combined wealth of the second and third richest people today. Catherine the Great, $1.5 trillion. Kicking off the $1 trillion club in today's video is Catherine the Great, who ruled the Russian Empire during its golden age from 1762 to 1796. Catherine the Great was a powerful leader who turned the empire into a global superpower in the 18th century. According to Money.com, Catherine's long reign over Russia, one of the largest empires in history, combined with surviving multiple uprisings, especially the Pugachev Rebellion from 1773 to 1775, allowed her to control a fort equivalent to about 5% of the global GDP at the time. Based on F5M's research, the Earth's GDP in 1800 was about $1.2 trillion. Therefore, Catherine's value was $60 billion at the time of her death in 1796, equivalent to nearly $1.5 trillion in 2025. Perhaps because she was so wealthy, Catherine the Great's way of loving was also unique. While modern wealthy women gift their young paramours the newest iPhone or a luxury car, Russia's Catherine the Great had a preference for giving her lovers vast estates and tens of thousands of serfs. According to Russia under the old regime, Catherine gave her lovers 66,000 serfs between 1762 and 1772, 220,000 serfs between 1773 and 1793, and up to 100,000 serfs in a single day, August 18, 1795. Are you guys stunned yet? Let us know by commenting below. Please subscribe and hit that notification bell to catch part 2 of this video, which is sure to blow your mind. And now, goodbye and see you next time.